Hello and welcome to another Pauper video. I'm kalikaiz. Today I'm going to be doing the Pauper decks of the week, or in this case, decks of 6 past weeks of Magic Online 5.0 trophies. So we're going to look at what trophied, what is going on with the metagame, and check out some spicy lists. You can't see the top, but I have like over 25 different lists that I felt were spicy or intriguing, along with my top 5. The spicy list we're going to go through is going to be in basically chronological order, except I pulled out a few specifically. If you want to support me, you can join the YouTube membership in the join button down below. There's also patreon.com/kalikaiz if you want if you want sideboard guides. Early access to videos is on the YouTube membership. If you want to see any of these sweet decks in action and you don't want to wait for me to try to figure it out and post it, make sure to contact me via Discord or Twitter. At me there to make sure I see your message and we can set up a deck donation. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty gritty. So I haven't been doing this for a while. It's a lot of effort, and I felt kind of, I want to say like disenthused after the Tide ban, but you know, it's been a while. It's been almost 2 months. So what's going on here? I felt like, hey, this metagame has just been stale and stagnant, but let's see if that's the case. Spoiler, not really, but kind of. So in week 1, this was November 30th to December 6th. Mono Red Madness was on top at over 20%. Then Elves Rally Red and Mono Blue Terror with Dimir Terror underneath. So Terror itself around 10%. I mean, that's kind of what we were expecting. Not too much changing there. Moving on to the next week, we have December 7th through 13th. Mono Red Madness dropping a bit with a Rally Red in 5%. So you have like 15% burn. You have 10% Terror, Spy combos up there again, Gardens up there, White Weenie. We're starting to see a rise in Mono White Heroic as people are trying to test the deck. Sort of gaining steam as a better mana way to play Bogles. So Mono White Heroic, we'll check that out, I guess. The next week, we have Mono Blue Terror on top at 15%, then Mono Red Madness, Rakdos Madness in third at 8.6%. I'm wondering if Rakdos Madness players are feeling strong against Mono Blue Terror. Maybe the black spells are good against the Hydroblasts, and they can also afford to put a lot of graveyard hate in their deck because they can play things like Bajuka Bog or Nile Spellbomb. Next place we have Rally Red, then Elves, then Jund Wildfire. We don't have anything really up and coming. Mono White Heroic dropped off a little bit. Call Gates is going to be a thing that we're going to watch in the next coming weeks. Here we have Call Gates at 5.4%, so moving up. Elves on top this week from the 21st to the 27th with Mono Blue Terror in second, then Red Madness, Rakdos Madness. So we sort of have flavors of Burn and Terror at the top of the metagame. My understanding is that Elves beats Mono Blue Terror in a way that they are strong into the metagame. Like, they're going to be able to beat everything but Mono Red Madness is what I'm told. Moving on, we have this 28th through January 3rd. Dimir Terror on top at 7.9%, Mono Red Madness at 7.2%, and Mono Blue Terror is 6.6%. So this is kind of similar, like macro archetype shares with the Burn and Terror decks doing the most things, but from a micro archetype, we definitely are seeing a lot of variety. You can see this pie chart looks a lot different than this one, and even the ones before that. Like, we are really diving into the nitty gritty. People are trying out a lot of different things. Avatar has recently come out, so the Dimir Terror decks are picking up Abandoned Attachments, which allows them to hold up Counterspell, pitching Snacker on their end step and trying to get the Snacker back that way. We also are seeing, let's see, is Cogate still here? No. Mono White Heroic doing okay. Mono White Heroic also has a Lessons package, and I think I might want to dig into some of those decks before we get into the spicy ones. Now, on January 4th through 10th, we have the most recent week prior to this one. We have Elves at 10%, then Cogate at 8%, Mono Blue Terror, Spy, Mono Red Madness, Dimir Terror. So once again, looking very, very diverse, and the metagame has been fluctuating week to week. So I don't think there's any way to say that Pauper is not an objectively healthy format at this time. We just still have a format that's defined by the cards Tolarian Terror and the lightning bolt decks of whatever flavor you're deciding to play in this week, I guess. Let's go ahead and check out the top decks. So this is the Pauper metagame sorted in the last 30 days. Terror, then Madness variants, Grixis Affinity, Elves, Red decks. Coggates is coming up. The Mono Blue Terror, I'm sure everyone is familiar with it, but if you're not, is a deck that revolves around the card Tolarian Terror, which is a 7 mana 5/5 with Ward 2. It really is a 1 mana 5/5 because they're playing a lot of Mental Notes and Thought Scours, making this cheaper. They also have a backup Terror with Cryptic Serpent, which is not quite as good because it costs 2. It costs blue and is a 6/5 that does not have Ward. Luminati is one of the main pilots of the deck, and they've been going back and forth on no Delvers or Delvers, playing Murmuring Mystic. There's a lot of different flex pieces you can play, like Demon Fury as a removal spell. They seem to be weak to Elves, so this player's playing some gut shots. The Mono Red Madness build has not really changed very much. This player is playing the 4 Masmiar, 4 Voldaren Epicure, and they placed second in a Pauper 1K in paper. But most of the time, we're seeing a stock Mono Red Madness with Epicure, Flame Breather, Snacker, Gutter Snipe. This relies on just like combo killing your opponent with Gutter Snipe and Fire Blast. The next deck is Madness Burn. Here, that's just the red-black Madness. The cool thing about this deck is you can go wide in the air with things like Kitchen Imp with your Sneaky Snacker. And because it has a lot of life gain effects with Vampire's Kiss, Alms of the Vein, they can go over the top of the Mono Red Madness deck. Some players have been playing Dark Withering as a madnessable, like, snuff out type effect. Or I guess Terror, which is destroy target non-black creature. And they do have some Nile Spell Bombs. This player not playing any number of bogs in the main deck. Grixis Affinity hasn't changed too much in the recent past, but Luffy Chapeau de Paula has been the player that's been playing it all the time. There's 4 challenges a week now, and he seems to top 8 every single one of them. The main thing is whether or not he should be playing Black Mage's Rod in the main deck. It's sort of a value piece that can increase the clock. So I think it's probably pretty solid in the deck, and Luffy does think that as well. And he's the main pilot of the deck, so what am I to say? That deck just relies on playing a value mid-range. So they have tons and tons of card draw with Thoughtcast, Reckoner's Bargain, and Fanatical Offering. Reckoner's Bargain, very, very strong in this deck because you can sacrifice a Mere Enforcer and gain 7 life at instant speed. And then in the sideboard, some Unexpected Fangs helps a lot, along with a bunch of blasts. This player is on 6 Hydroblast effects, which is pretty strong into the red decks. They have, okay, next we have Elves. This, I think, got the most recent large upgrade in people trying to figure out that you should play Avenging Hunter in the main deck. There's another sweet thing where in the sideboard, they're playing a Gingerbread Cabin. Gingerbread Cabin is a forest that gives you a food when it ETBs if you have 3 other forests. So on turn 4, you have a Gingerbread Cabin. And then the very interesting thing is you can use Quirion Ranger to bounce and replay your Gingerbread Cabin many times. You may be out of creatures, but you're going to be trying to value life gain, get out of range of your mono red opponent. And I played against an Elves who was doing this with my Mono Red Madness, and it was very, very tough. But I still took him down, but it was definitely a thing. They're also playing a newer card with Monstrous Emergence. It's 1 and a green from Duskmourn. It says as an additional cost to cast a spell, choose a creature you control, or reveal a creature card from your hand. It deals X damage equal to the power of the creature you chose or the card you revealed to target creature. I mean, post-board, they really don't want the Gutter Snipe to stay on the table, so this makes sense. And they can reveal something like a Spinewood's Paladin, which is a 5/4, or the Avenging Hunter, or the Generous End, which are all big enough to kill pretty much everything in the format. Let's see. Mono Red Rally. This is your Goblin Bushwhacker Go Wide deck. The power of the deck is mostly from Burning Tree Emissary combined with Rally at the Hornburg. On turn 2, you have 3 bodies attacking for 4 damage. If you just go 1-drop, 2-drop, Rally, and then Bushwhacker, it's a very, very strong turn 3 kill sometimes if they have multiple emissaries or stuff like that. Coggates. This deck has been drastically underplayed in the past, but it has tools to beat the burn decks as well as the terror decks, and the Elves decks, and the Affinity decks. So Colgate looking very, very strong into the metagame consistently. They can play things like Dust to Dust in the sideboard for Affinity. They have a Rainbow mana base with their gates, so they're allowed to play Blue Blast, Pyroblast. They have Dispel, they have main deck Spell Pierces and counter spells. This person's playing a variety of different things like Brainstorms and Preordains, but you can see that there's a few different varieties of it, as well as a newer version of Colgates started by Alessandro Piericini, who took it to a challenge, but they are playing this black-white Colgates with 4 cast down, 2 Thraben Charms, so they can play things like Accursed Marauder and Suffocating Fumes and stuff like that. Maybe the Suffocating Fumes is a meta call against Elves. Maybe Piericini will comment and let me know. Let's continue moving backwards. The 8th place list on the Pauper metagame for the last 30 days is Jund Wildfire. I've heard that there's some changes where some people are removing Refurbished Familiar from the main deck, but generally this deck is a Modern Horizons 3 Tribal or Modern Horizons Tribal deck with Writhing Chrysalis, Refurbished Familiar. Munitions is not from Horizons, it's from Commander Masters. All the bridges, just best cards in Jund deck. Let's see if I see our... I thought there was a 5-0 from Eisen, but I do not see it here, so that's fine. We'll move on. Back and back. So that's kind of a look at the top decks of the Pauper metagame. And now what I want to do is go through the sweet decks. Speaking of Alessandro Piericini, this player managed to 5-0. This is my first one. This is December 1st with a foil, like a Delver Snacker Terror deck, and playing 4 Abandoned Attachments and 4 foil to pitch the Snackers. I love that. That's so cool. I love playing foil, the Force of Will of Pauper. I'm just wondering, he said he wasn't able to reproduce the success with this deck, so I considered maybe replacing the Delvers in this list with the 6/5 Snake. The next list is a mono green Stompy from Cynthiora. I think I've seen something like this before, but it has a little bit of the synergies with the counters using Horrific Assault, Brave the Wilds, Experiment 1. Looks pretty cool. If you want a green Stompy deck, this didn't 5-0 again, but it did get there once, so it's maybe a good LGS deck. The next deck, Spy Combo. Spy Combo, generally a black-green deck. This person is playing more of a mid-range version, playing 4 Writhing Chrysalis and 4 Avenging Hunter in the main deck. That kind of gives you the black-green-red Glee vibes, where you're really beating your opponent down. They don't have anything they can do about it. They're going to have to answer your stuff, and then you kill them with the Spy. Moving on, we have Blue Black by Noob. And his first Noob, traditionally a black-green Gardens player, here they actually managed to trophy with basically a Teachings deck. So their only threats are 2 Trolls and 1 Aventkar's Justice. They have Devious Cover-Up for looping. They also have Campfire for looping, then Pristine Talisman to gain life. So a lot of life gain in the main deck. It's pretty sick to see a Dimir Teachings deck. And then I was like, oh, Dimir Teachings, that's cool. How about a Grixis Control? Almost the same deck, but no Teachings. This player is playing kind of like the Grixis the Blue-Red Terror, but mixing in Sneaky Snacker off the back of the Abandoned Attachments. They're also playing Is It Charm, which is a way to loot away the Sneaky Snacker. So that's really sweet. I love that. The next deck, Mono Black Control. Welcome back, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. Gary, everybody's been missing you. This deck is looking to play Refurbished Familiar, Chittering Rats, and Virus Beetle to mess with your opponent's hand over and over and over. Let's see. They do not have the enchantment that does the same thing, but they also have a bunch of Blood Fountains to rebuy all their creatures, and they can use things like Reckoner's Bargain, Fanatical, and Eviscer's Insight to sacrifice their discard creatures and then replay them, which is just brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Memphitic Drought is a sweet tithing Ichor Wellspring in this deck because it gives you the devotion for Grey Merchant. That's really sweet. Congratulations to Gefilippus. Next, we have Ruby Storm from Cosmic Charles. This one is not actually Ruby Storm, but it looks very similar because it's got lots and lots of rituals, like Desperate Ritual, Seething Song. Got the First Day of Class, Metamorphose, Glimpsing Impossible. But this deck is looking to go wide as fast as possible. So things like Burning Tree Emissary, and we have Goblin War Party to go wide. And then you just bash in with the Haste from First Day of Class or Goblin War Party, along with the Avenging Hunter. This league, this 5-0 league, was actually up on Cosmic Charles's YouTube page, so you can check that out. I also wanted to shout out Sins, who I played in the leagues earlier today. They were really kind and helped me not punt, so thank you. We got. I said I would give them a shout out, so everybody say hi, Sins. The next deck here is Tron by Data Pusher. So this is Eggstron, but without any eggs. Well, it actually has eggs, but it doesn't have the combo. And I did a video on this kind of list. It's just looking to put as many threats on the table as possible until your opponent is dead. We've got Pact Altair, we've got Black Mage's Rod. We're just going to keep slapping them down, and eventually our opponent will die. A couple of other players actually trophied with this same deck, so it's pretty strong. The next one is a Simic Flicker from Kerblinksy, which I had no idea that this occurred. He probably has this on his YouTube page. It's looking to go like Refurbish Familiar Flicker, pick up and replay the refurb with the Dreamstalker, or Sticky Tongue Sentinel, which can also pick up and replay Cryogen Relic or Tithing Blade. That is really cool. I had known there was a Sultai player because the next trophy is... Oh, not that one. It's coming up after that. So here's, well, I'll go to it. Sultai Control from Barf. They managed to trophy the first time trying their Sultai Control deck, playing Coiling Oracle, Archaeomancer, Muldrifter, and are they not even playing? Okay, so they don't even have the Cryogen Relic, which I think is kind of weird, but I guess they just didn't want to lean into Flicker so much. It's sort of like a Teachings deck, which is kind of wild. The next deck is by Los Doncato. This is Dimir Spirits, which I just released a video of, a variant of this, yesterday or the day before. It has Mob Lookout as a multicolored spell, but the engine of the deck is using Enigma Eidolon and Entropic Eidolon to get value out of all your discard stuff. So you can discard them with things like Careful Study, Abandoned Attachments, Jihad Exploit, and get them back, and then just overvalue your opponent. This version is only playing 2 foils in the main deck. Pretty interesting. Next deck, Burn from Baki Flocky. I believe the first person I ever saw play this kind of deck was Cosmic Charles, but they were playing an all 1-drops deck. Here, Baki Flocky decided to play some Demand Answers in this Inventor's Axe 1-drop deck, which is pretty strong, and it just kind of runs over people. Been doing okay in challenges as well. 3rd in a challenge recently. The next spicier deck was Mono Red Goblins from Gui Gabo. This player has been playing Goblins since the dawn of time. Good to see that they were able to trophy with their Goblins-based deck. They're playing Highway Robbery as a way to draw cards. They've got Goblin Grenade, Lightning Bolt, and Searing Blaze and Fire Blast for burn spells. Let's move on. Dredge. So this Dredge deck, I believe Marzaboy, he won a Pauper RCQ on Magic Online with this Dredge deck. So the interesting thing is the mana base is mostly green and rainbow. You've got Forest as a 4 of, Only Garden as a 4 of, 4 of Survivor's Encampment, which you can tap a creature to add 1 mana of any color, Holdout Settlement, which is the same thing, and then 1 each of fetchable lands with Haunted Mire and Wooded Ridgeline to get with your Generous Ent. Then the idea being you can use Momentary Blink if you want as a flashback spell to flashback and blink your Lotless Giant with it on the table, and that means your Lotless Giant only needs like 10 to kill your opponent, potentially. Plus it has Molten Gatekeeper as a way to go through your opponent much faster. You get that on the table, you're going to be getting all these things in and out of the graveyard, Colony Gardens going on, and apparently it really overruns people. Now, Marzaboy said that this has a very, very good Terror matchup, so if that's what you're looking to beat, play this one. Probably not the Dimir Terror because they can play Graveyard Hate, but definitely the Mono Blue. The next deck, Dimir Delver. Yeah, it's not really Delver. This looks like Dimir Terror, but then all of a sudden I was like, what is Troll of Khazad-dûm doing here? And Marauding Brine Fang. It has Island Cycle for 2 and Ward 3. Striped Riverwinder. Oh, then I looked down. We've got 4 Exhumes. So this is a Dimir Exhume, like Terror deck, with no Thoughtscour Mental Note situation, but they can do some scam if the cards align. So that's really fun. I wonder, you could potentially put some number of Dark Rituals and make it a little bit faster if you wanted. Next deck, we have Simic Infect from Dean Machine. Doesn't really change anything from the normal Simic Infect, but I felt like Simic Infect was kind of cool to see. 4 Distortion Strike as an unblockability card. It also has a Rebound and is a pump spell. They don't have any counter spells in the main deck, but they do have Dispel and Sideboard. So pretty normal Simic Infect, but it's cool. This one is a little out there. Orzhov Ephemerate. Not exactly the Orzhov Blade that we're used to. This one is trying to leverage 4 of Ephemerate, making Goliath Paladin better, making your Spirited Companion better, and even getting triggers off of things like Vampire Sovereign or Pegasus Guardian. Oh, Pegasus Guardian is an adventure card that flickers a creature too. So it's just like a value black-white deck. Very nice. We are moving up the chain. So much stuff. Azorius Control. USP dudes, this is the player that invented, in my mind, the Gardens deck. And they have a blue-white Gardens, apparently. It's got Lunarch Veteran to gain life, Inspiring Overseer to gain life, Archaeomancer combined with Ephemerate. Custody Squire can bring stuff back from the graveyard. Moldrifter Ephemerate is huge. Shipwreck Drowser is another Ephemerate, essentially. Dowser. And it also has Prowess. From Counterspell, Snap, Thraben Charm. I played against them with Cycle Storm, and they had all 4 Thraben Charms in the top 20, so they wrecked me. Moving up, we have Tron from Lolo77. This is pretty much a classic Fangren Tron. Fangren Marauder not present in the main deck, so that's not as classic as I guess it should have been, but it's a life gain based Tron. They've got Generous End to fetch a forest. Boulder Branch Golem is a 6/5 that gains 7 life on ATBs. Brambleworm is a 7 mana 7/6 that gains life. Wretched Griff is just a really good value card. And then Maelstrom Colossus is your Cascader at top end. Candy Trail in the main deck. They also have Pinnacle Killship. Not a card you see very often, but it's a 7 mana 7/7 artifact spaceship. And if you tap another creature you control, you put charge counters on it and turn it into a 7/7 flying, which is pretty easy to do in that deck. We are moving up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2 more decks than the spicier ones that I decided were the spiciest. Natalino 91 managed to 5-0 with their Mono Red Dredge. They made some changes to the list, playing Greater Moss Dog as a Dredge 3 along with the Snakeweed Imp, so you can dredge faster. They have Burning Inquiry as a draw 3. It's going to kind of be ancestral in this deck, I suppose, because you're just dredging a lot harder. Faithless Looting for 1 mana dredging, and Cathartic Reunion is one of the best discard draw spells that you can play. Decks looking to get Sneaky Snackers back, and then they can dread return very easily. Fairy Macabre on the sideboard. Brambleworm as the juke plan, where you can dread return the Brambleworm for more life. Fang Dragon as a sweeper is cool. And they have Fairy Macabre and Siege Smash as a split-second way to deal with relics. Plus Pyroblast. That's kind of sweet. Okay, Madness Burn from Danny Ground. This is also Red Dredge, but instead of playing a dredge plan, their main plan is to go wide and then cast Flashback or Rally the Peasants, or cast it off of Conduit Pylons. So they're playing Basking Rootwalla, 0 mana, the Madness Hit. Everybody loves this card. Mass Meow or Voldaren Epicure, those are some 1-drops. Scrapwork Mutt as a 2 mana thing to get on the table with. Faithless Looting and Grab the Prize. A couple of Fiery Tempers. This is really sweet. And in the sideboard, they have 8 anti-artifacts with 4 Cast into Fires and 4 Suplex. They have the Dread Return Lawless Giant combo and a few Pyroblasts. Danny Ground is a player from Italy who is apparently very good friends with Andrea Mangucci, and I'm sure just taught him everything he knows. Okay, top 5 spice. 4-color Ephemerate from Belle Karuis. I could that did not come out correctly. But this is like a value gates deck that's playing 4 Ephemerate to, I guess, ephemerate out your Coiling Oracle and your Gatecreeper Vine and your Cerulean Gatekeepers for life. Then they have Malevolent Rumble and Thraben Charm. Radiance to Nowhere and Armadillo Cloak. It's some number of dispels in the main deck. It's just like a Naya Gates, but instead of going red, they went blue for Coiling Oracle Dispel. And then they've got the Ephemerate plan. I'm having trouble wrapping my brain around it, but it's very cool. So hopefully we can see that pop up again. There were a lot of Naya Gates in the leagues. Coming up from there, another Fengrantron style deck, except this one also doesn't have Fengrantron, and none of the creatures cost any colors to play. So if you have exactly your Tron online, you can cast every single creature. Boulder Branch to gain life. Groundyard Lurker is a Vigilance 7/7 and creates a spawn. Iron Giant, a Vigilance 6/6 reach rample. Warp Tusker is a 7 mana 6/8 reach that also creates a spawn. The Wretched Griff, of course. Maelstrom Colossus makes sense, and then Crusher. Okay. They have Ancient Stirrings, Crop Rotation to get Tron online quickly, and then my favorite thing, Rush of Knowledge. Imagine having an 8-drop in play and casting Rush of Knowledge. There's just nothing better than that. It's so sweet. So what they did was they're playing what? All the Urza's lands and then Crystal Grotto, so they can filter quickly for the Crop Rotation or the Stirrings. And then they have Candy Trail on the Expedition map. This is one that I probably will try out just because it looks really fun. Top 3. This is a new deck in the format. Food. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so this is Cat Food. This is a deck that was created by Giorgio Combo. I also premiered it on my YouTube, so you can see that in the most recent videos. It relies on eventually having Cauldron Familiar in the graveyard, having a Ashnod's Altar in play, and having your deck be only Lembuses. So you can play the Lembus for 2 mana, cat the food, bringing it back to the grave table in response to the draw trigger, which puts the food back in the deck. Then you sacrifice the cat to the Ashnod's Altar, draw the food, play the food, cat the food, over and over and over. This version of the deck is playing 2 Molten Gatekeepers. I believe this was the first person to 5-0 with this deck. 2 Molten Gatekeepers, which when in play, if you have a mana neutral Mirror Retriever loop with the Ashnod's Altar, now you kill your opponent. So that was kind of sweet. Then now we have a new archetype. Not exactly new, but kind of new. This is Ruby Storm, and Sesta was the first person to trophy with this version of the deck. Now that first day of class can pick up a ton of different, a large number of different lessons, this really powered up our deck because we can use first day of class and to draw spells like Waterbending Lesson or Abandon attachments. It also picks up things like Origin and Metal Bending, which is a fetchable protection spell, picks up a fetchable removal spell, and picks up a fetchable pump spell. So very, very strong. This version is taking the old Rummage list and just slapping that in. Was awesome. He trophied on this day. I also trophied on that day, just like hard copying it. And now we have gotten to the point where I guess this was yesterday. I trophied with Ruby Storm, but we're playing Reckless Impulses in the deck to support a plan of a lot of Pyroblast in the sideboard. The spiciest deck. Oh, apparently my deck was the spiciest deck. My bad about that. I'll take it. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let me know if I missed anything or what you thought about the different decks. What is something that you think that I should put on the channel? Hopefully I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have an awesome day.